Hi crafters, it's Marianne again from MA Designs. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to make a card using some products that are completely new to me. So I've got here the Tall Daisies set from Lisa Horton Crafts. So you can see here I've got a set of stencils, layering stencils that will help you colour in your daisies, and I've also got the embossing folder and matching die. So with all of these things, we should be able to create beautiful texture. We should be able to die cut a 3D embossed image and colour it accurately. So I like these kits where it's all in one. You've got everything you could possibly need to do different effects with this same image. And it's a nice sort of A6 size. I think Lisa Horton is based in the UK. She seems to do European size designs. But I really like these daisies because I figure if you use the die, you'll be able to cut them out and use them as a topper on a much bigger card, or you'll be able to cut out just certain daisy heads and use them as embellishments on a smaller card. So I figure this is quite a versatile kit. So just showing you the products here, this is me just opening the products for the first time. I've not used these, and we should, right? We spend good money on our crafts, so we really ought to use them. So you can see the holes that you've got on the side there. Lisa Horton sells like a stamp platform thing. I can't remember the name of it, but it's got like pegs down the left hand side, and you hang the stencils on these pegs, and then you know that they're perfectly lined up every time. I think that's quite a good idea, but I don't have that tool. So today what I'm going to do is just try and create something as close as possible to the example on the front of the packaging. In the longer term, I hope to be able to do these flowers in multiple different colours. Obviously, the daisies I've ever seen in real life are usually white with a yellow centre. So obviously they've got pink ones there on the design, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to use, I think, the 6 stencils, so I'm going to try and use all of those and just use this product basically as it's designed, just to get me started. And then once I get a bit more confidence with it, then hopefully I'll be able to make something a bit more adventurous in the future. But today we are just as close as possible going to replicate the example on the packaging. So I've got a few Distress Oxide inks. I really like the oxides because I feel like they do sort of foolproof blending. I'm blending directly onto my card front. I've got a 6x6 card base. I've lined up the stencil so it's right against the top of the card, and then right against the spine of the card. So hopefully that should help me when I come to line up the next one and the next one and the next one. So I've got here Victorian Velvet. Now this isn't a colour that I use very often. It's kind of dusky, which I suppose is the whole point. It's a distress colour. It's not supposed to be like bright and rainbowish, but it's not one that I've used. And this finger dauber that I'm using is brand new, so it's kind of dry. They need to be saturated to blend more smoothly, in my opinion, but this one's a brand new one, so it's a little bit scratchy at first, but this is just the first layer of colour. So we're gonna put more and more and more colour, so you're not really gonna notice that towards the end. So layering on stencil number 2, you can see it's got the number 2 in the top left, which is really handy. Like, these are really foolproof. And I'm just dabbing on some picked raspberry, which is a brighter shade of pink. So I'm hoping that with these being pigment hybrid inks, I'm hoping that the pigment is going to sit on the top of the other colours, and even if it's not necessarily a darker colour, I'm hoping it'll still be visible. So you can see there that Victorian Velvet is fairly dominant actually. It's quite especially where I've gone more heavy-handed, it's quite a darkish colour, but that picked raspberry has showed up on top, which is lovely. And now I'm going in with green. This is bundled sage, which is a beautiful colour, so I'm using this for the longest stem. But on the same stencil are the flower centres, and I'm not sure they really need to be green, but I kind of think if they're on the same stencil, should they be the same colour? So I've done them the same colour. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And then this next stencil has a smaller bit of the centre, so I don't know if I really should have done 2 different shades of yellow for the centres. So I've got their Mowed Lawn, which is pretty much the truest green, like a green in the Distress line. And then I've got squeezed lemonade here, which is a bright sunshiny yellow. I'm just going to bob that on those smaller centres, but I'm not sure if that's going to show up. It does kind of, but it's not as bright as I would have liked, but never mind. You live and you learn. And then there are more stencils left, so we're already on stencil 6. This is a really comprehensive kit, but those little petals there, it's just so detailed. And then you finally got these lines on the very tops of the daisies. So I'm going back in. I don't have a brighter or darker colour of pink other than the picked raspberry, so I'm just going in again with the picked raspberry and hoping that having 2 layers of the colour, it'll be a little bit darker and a bit more visible. But yeah, it's not really visible. It adds a slight hint of dimension, but you can't really tell. So if you do have a darker pink, use it. That would look better. And I am regretting the choice of the Victorian Velvet. I feel like it's a little bit dull. Maybe I could have used, I don't know, maybe I could have used an Altenew one of the paler pinks that I've got there. Anyway, so I was considering cutting out the daisy, but I do like the placement on the card. And it leaves plenty of room for a sentiment on the right. So I'm just lining up this embossing folder and hoping that I've gone high enough up on the card that I can, yes, look at that. So that's lining up perfectly. Absolutely fabulous. So I'll just run that directly through my Big Shot die cutting machine and give that an emboss. So it won't go through the first time I try because I forgot you need to remove one of the layers from the platform to make it thinner because they're really thick. It's a thick 3D embossing folder. But there we are. We've embossed directly into the card front. Look at the dimension on that. It's fabulous. So now, pure and simple, to not detract from the flower, and I don't know what else you could, like, that flower is now integral to this card with it being embossed directly into the card. Nothing else to do except add a bit of a sentiment. So I'm going to add a peel off happy birthday sentiment just into that right hand side somewhere. So just gradually peeling these off. These are really quite delicate. I don't know if you can really see, but because they're joined up handwriting, like swirly handwriting style font, it's not joined. So you see where that A there, it's not joined at the top, and the B isn't joined at the bottom. So they're kind of fragile when you're trying to peel them off. So I'm trying to bend the backing of the sticker sheet back away from the sticker rather than pulling the sticker forward, just to try and stop it warping as much as possible. So I've got that firmly in my tweezers now. Reverse tweezers are an absolute godsend. And I'm just shuffling it around the card, trying to work out exactly where I want it. And I have gone back to my first initial instinct. Sometimes we doubt ourselves too much, don't we? So I've gone back to where I thought in the first place. I'm just putting that in the top right. And repeating the same with the word happy. Again, the A isn't joined up, so you've got to be really careful not to, like, tear the sticker or warp it. And as I try and put it down on the paper, look, it goes somewhat wonky, but it's all right. As long as you go steady with them, you can fix it. And look at that, card done. Nice and simple, right? And I really like how it's embossed an extra line in the centre, so that yellow bit is actually really clearly defined. And I do kind of like my colour choices in the end. Look at the inside, look at the definition on this embossing folder. I've never seen, the quality of it is insane. Genuinely, I would recommend Lisa Horton embossing folders. Look at that. So I'll just show you a few close-ups of the card, but that's it, guys. Pure and simple. If ever you're in a rut, just do what the packaging suggests just to get you started. Thank you so much for watching. Please click like and subscribe and check out my channel. There's plenty more going on. Thanks a lot. Bye.